So it's Friday the 13th of March 2026 and we're here at the Town Hall again, and it's the International Women's Day speeches, march and rally. The numbers generally very, reasonably well attended. Doesn't look like there's too many here today, and it's kind of a lot of groups of sort of unionists mostly, and then you've got other, well, she's just singing. Yeah, there's not many. Wow, okay. And you've got all these red people who are obviously some sort of a, who are these guys? Oh, he's the communist guy, Free Celia Flores, First Lady of Venezuela. Oh yeah, so they're there. There's Danny, the man himself. He's saying hello to the communists. You got the socialist types that are organising here at this end. You got a couple of cops just having a chin wag. There's a few cops on the way in. I saw a few cops as well. Yeah, the guys just having a chat. I'm not sure who these red ladies are. They're having a bit of a laugh with the cops as well. The cops seemed quite okay about it. So they might be part of the International Women's Day, maybe. But it's a very small crowd. I mean, it's supposed to kick off in 5 minutes. We know whose bike that is. That'll be. You've got to look for. Oh, there she is. There's the Palestinian flag up there. So yeah, I guess they're part of International Women's Day. They seem to be fairly well melded in with the rest of the crew. It's not. I don't think it's a Lunar New Year thing because that's over. Cuba. You got this guy. There's obviously a bit of crossover with the Cubans, Venezuelans. He was here. He was at the last Cuban Venezuelan thing. Unionists, of course. Union women, strong union. A few more. There's a few cops, the regular ones, the regular bike cop, and then the regular cop who does the walking. Yeah, you got a few seats at the front, but they're setting it up now. But I mean, it's like they're kind of just putting up the sort of the flag and not the flag, but the information sheet. What do you call it? Advertising thing. I don't know what you can call it. You got some seats here at the front for the people that can't sit. I'm sure these guys just not sure they're part of International Women's Day either, but they could be. Mostly that's a union, Teachers Federation, union something, Teachers Federation again. These ones are other unions, something I can't, public sector union I think. Yeah, they've got a couple of tents set up. We are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn. Okay, so that's someone's. They had a little sign writing thing at 5 o'clock. It's now 5. Well, it's 5:30 due to kick off now in 5 minutes. They had a sign writing thing earlier. So yeah, we are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn. Oh, that's the sign writing. That's the sign writing little thing here. So a few more people are doing a bit of sign writing. I don't think there's too many turned up for the 5 o'clock sign writing. And then that's it. That's everyone. A bit of a hodgepodge of groups. And yeah, quite a few of the union-y types have their flags. Again, not Solidarity Forever on his red shirt, but I don't know if he's part of the red shirts or those red shirts, and if he's part of these ladies, and then he's a Cuban, and who knows? We shall see. Well, yeah, we'll have a little wait and see. It's, we'll wait for another few more minutes, and it'll kick off. I'm assuming, and the speeches will start. The marching will start, and yeah, there's quite a few. I saw a few cop cars parked there, but the cops are just here for the, I don't think they're here to stop any International Women's Day rioters happening, but I think they're here. Oh, and also the Assange people will be here as well. I forgot about that. Got to go and check Tony and the boys. They're over here. Yeah, Tony. That's Tony in the middle there with the vest on. He's been here for many years. He hasn't. He missed a couple of days apparently where he couldn't make it when he was had to go overseas, and the other one he's on his freaking sick bed. He couldn't get out of bed. Other than that, he's here every Friday. The regular guys. They switched over to Free David McBride now. He's a jailed whistleblower. He was a lawyer for the Defence Department. I should be more up to date on McBride's situation. Come along a bit more. Justice for refugees. He's fucking pigeons love him, man. Look at that. He's absolutely covered in. And the seagulls. Pigeons are just eating out of his hands. Whatever he's feeding them, some bread or some shit. It's just like they're getting into it there. They're all over him. Fucking going off. Anyway, not that should it be encouraged, I don't know. Australia trashes UN refugee laws. So obviously they're and you'll get some Christians here as well, being a Friday night. So it's all happening. There's all fucking hell, dirty fucking things. Yeah, it's all happening here at Sydney Town Hall on Friday the 13th of March 2026. But what we're here for is Sydney International Women's Day. So let's go and see what happens. I'll go and say a quick hello to Tony and the boys. All right, well, it's now nearly 5:45. It's supposed to start at 5:30. The numbers haven't changed. I had a chat with Tony from the Assange group, or David McBride group these days. I won't have a chat with him late there, but he might not even be. He might be here for these ladies, whatever the hell they're here for. Danny Lim, I don't know what the hell. What's it? Scream, dance, sing, smile for peace. Oh, he's shaking hands with the coppers, even though every time I chat with him, he hates. He's pissed off with the coppers because he got bloody pushed over that day in the Queen Victoria building, just around the corner there. All right, well, this is just it's taken a little while to kick off. I'm not sure who's organising it and who's running it. It's just kind of by a Facebook group called the International Women's Day Facebook group. So we shall see. But again, it's like 15 minutes late. There's no speeches so far. They're going to march, but they would be lucky they'd be struggling to have 100 people here at this stage. And the speeches haven't started. They seem to have it set up the top. I did look back on my last year's one just to see, and definitely the numbers were bigger. 100% they were bigger. But now, that's it. Maybe they might not even have the speeches up the top, but it looks like they've got the microphones. Well, not the microphones. What do you call those things? The speakers are set up, but they don't seem to have a microphone at the moment, unless it's just a handheld. So we shall sit tight, wait and see. And there's definitely zero mainstream media. There's not a single camera. There's this kind of guy that I walk past who's a kind of a left. He's part of the left sort of media of some sort, but yeah, no mainstream media. And when I was just chatting to the Assange crew, he's going, "Oh, it's like a week late." I said, "Oh well, it's like this is it. This is what's on in Sydney for Sydney International Women's Day March. This is it. That's what the sign says, and that's what we're at the moment. That's why we're here." So, all right, pause again, and we shall reconvene when something. It's not much still happened. It's about 20 minutes after kickoff. They get this guy up there to hold the sign for them while they get a photo of their group with a floppy sign. They just let it go and now it's flopped back again. Tighten that sign up again, mate. But he's up there fiddling around with all the PA systems, and it's back to the floppy sign. So they're the nurses and midwives union. Not much in the intervening time. Not a lot's happened. I'm just kind of floating, waiting around. I just set up my gimbal, and nobody's made any attempt to have any speeches. There's another guy fiddling around with some equipment over here with his vest on, and that's it. It's very it's very quiet. Did you say a twilight? It will be twilight. It'll be like midnight, I think, by the time it kicks off. Anyway, hopefully it'll be soon. Maybe they're just having some technical difficulties. I don't know. They got the woman on the microphone. It's the lady in the middle of the screen there. She's the one that was there last year. I didn't see her. I'm assuming it's her. She's kind of a union kind of lady. I'm not sure who she is, but she got everyone to gather. Can you just all gather around? And I think they're gonna film. I think it's going to be these ladies now. Oh, they're going to, so they're going to sing. Bloody chair, what do you reckon? Is that wrong that I would grab a chair? Nobody's using them. I'm going to grab one anyway. If anyone elderly wants one, I'm going to give it to them. But at this stage, I think they're going to, maybe they're having an issue with the, microphone.
We've got the words. It's to the tune of the ants go marching. All right, ants go marching.
Marching, 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 marching. The women are marching in the streets. Hurrah! Hurrah! Hear the sound of a million feet. Hurrah! Hurrah! Enough is enough, the women shout. It's time to stamp misogyny out. We all go marching on through the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. The women are marching in the streets. Hurrah! Hurrah! Hear the sound of a million feet. Hurrah! Hurrah! Call our faith and call our violence. Time to break the wall of silence. We all go marching on through the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. The women are marching in the streets. Hurrah! Hurrah! Men join in and march to the beat. Hurrah! Hurrah! Stop the abuse by those in power. We want change and now is the hour. We all go marching on through the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. People are roaring in the streets. Hurrah! Hurrah! Till we see change, we'll turn up the heat. Hurrah! Hurrah! Human rights for all we say. Listen to us, we're not going away. We all go marching on through the streets of the world. Human rights for all we say. Listen to us, we're not going away. And we all come marching on through the streets of the world. Don't be too polite, girls, don't be too polite. Show a little fight, girls, show a little fight. Don't be fearful of offending in case you get the sack. Just recognize your value and we won't look back. Really on the way, girls, really on the way. Hooray for equal pay, girls, hooray for equal pay. They're going to give it to most of us in spite of all their fears. But do they really need to wait all these years? Don't be too polite, girls, don't be too polite. Show a little fight, girls, show a little fight. Don't be fearful of offending in case you get the sack. Just recognize your value and we won't look back. Girls, don't be too afraid. We're clearly underpaid, girls, clearly underpaid. For equal pay in principle is every woman's right. To turn that into action, we must show a little fight.
Alright, well, we'll get a little look from the top here. Maybe they're just having some major issues with the PA. They've got a lot of freaking shit here. It's like cords and shit everywhere. Nothing's kind of done. Or they're finally getting a bit of, looks like these guys, it's like overkill with 4 mics and decks and more microphones and more decks and more everything else. And they finally got a little bit of these little kind of strange microphone-y type things. But yeah, the crowd is quite small, unfortunately, for them. So they're going to continue singing for a while, and they got this is the sign writing. A few more signs, and then
Thank you, Sydney Trade Union Choir. So we are going to start the marching, and then we'll come back to you for speech.
So the marching
So
first,
we can ask everyone to line up before
speeching second.
the 80-minute break comes.
So these ladies are going to lead the way. One of I should just listen to her rather than me repeat what I think she's saying. So she's telling everyone to line up here. The cops are getting their vests on. The socialists have their rainbow flags flying. That's an oldie rainbow flag you don't see very often these days. Oh, there's another one over there with the proper stripes, trans and Black Lives Matter and everything else that's added in. The Palestinian flag, of course. And what's this? Frankie. Oh, a small parrot food. So they did give them, at least gave them parrot. They gave them parrot food, not bread, which is good. So yeah, it's good to see they're getting proper food. I think I think they're just, the box maybe is empty now. I'm not sure, but they're about to. Yeah, the pigeons are all having a wonderful time. It's a very attractive brown one in the middle there. Very unique sort of white one right there too. sorry about my chatting. So these ladies are, I think they're going to lead it for some reason. They are the leaders of the pack. These are copper in charge of these things these days. He's talking to his two IC. This guy's telling him that look alive. He's just random. I don't know who he is. Telling the cops get moving. All right. I'll start a new clip once they kick off. Not sure where the hell they're going to go. We'll just follow it along. And there's a couple of strings here of unknown origin. They're there for a reason, though, I'm sure. He's just a few extra photographers turning up. The lady in the middle there is the only one that I know is a mainstream media lady. Union built, so she's obviously a union photographer. And the other ones are just the sort of left media. A lot of music. Oh, there's this guy, the Christian kind of guy, maybe. Whoa, here we go, we're off. Very a bit of a long-winded warm-up until they're ready to go. And I'd say if you include the red ladies, there is probably maybe just between the 100 and 200, maybe. If you're, it's very hard to judge as always. Once they get moving, all right, here we go. She's on the blower. She's the boss. So let's go. She's saying. So we're off. We are finally on the move. I guess it's a coordination with the coppers, and he's the boss. He's the boss copper. So he's given them the nod when to go. She's very good with her symbols. This woman in the white, must be pretty special to have the white outfit, and all the rest are in the red. Oh, they have a various. This side has a different shirt from the others in the middle, and maybe if you're more observant than me, maybe the others on the other side too. But they have a very rather colourful shirt, with dragons, and other ones are more plain looking. These doesn't have a. Oh, they don't have a. Oh yeah, they do. Only the various ones have little messages on their caps, and some don't. A difficulty of women is the guy's side. He's on the finance sector here. Yeah, so now there's a trans person with the trans flag in there, with rainbow flags and some Teachers Federation flags. Of course, you've got Danny Lim marching in full stead. He's getting if there's a photo op to be had, Danny Lim's there. Maybe there's a couple hundred. Maybe there's a couple hundred. Maybe. So obviously, fist bumps too. You get a fist bump off Danny. So I'm sure it's a circular march. That's why they're fart-assing around with the PA system, because they don't need it until you get back when they have the speeches and everyone who's fan of the channel or has suffered through my channel before always knows it's never the best option to have the speeches at the end. Always go with the speeches at the beginning when you got the audience captured. That's more at the socialist type ones. This is not so much. Yeah, not sure what, I can't remember her name. She's given a bit to yell. She needs to be at the front, not at the back. So they're gonna, they may, oh, they're off already. They're bloody taken off over the road already. I better do a run. They just crossed over at KFC Corner, we call that, in the city. Here, just outside the city, actually in the street, Bathurst and George Street, where the KFC is. That's a good view up the road. A few drummers. We've got a few drummers here. The yellow shirt, the yellow vested people making sure it runs well. And the cops, not many cops, not a great number, but it's just generally have the bikes up the front. They drive ahead and stop the traffic. The march progresses through. And in the back in the day, when the Palestine Action Group had their big marches, that was at 25 minutes from head to tail. These ones are like maybe 2 minutes, and they'll be past the intersection, depending on the speed. They're saying, what do we want? Equal pay. When do we want it? Now. That's the chant just then. The red labels, but stop violence against women. I am a woman, hear me roar. Some good signs there, or not good, but I mean, some signs. Handwritten. Stop the war on women is the next. Oh, stop the war on women, stop the war on Iran. These ones are chanting. I try and repeat them now because it's a bit blowy to start with, and it is hard to hear them. There's a little bit more chanting at the back now from a different. Hey Danny, how are you, brother? He's always he's always a good sight. Ah, what's this? Where's your late note? What are you doing rocking up this time of night? Safety for women, yet let's unite. Equality is our right. Pretty sure, I could be wrong. And that's kind of the end of it. You get a few cop cars at the end. There's no horses or anything over the top today. A few old ducks that aren't keeping up with everyone else, but they're getting there. They're doing all right. People just wait. They're so obedient to wait until it goes past, till they cross, even though you just walk through. But anyway. They're just obedient like that if it's just a red no walking sign compared to a green one. So I guess that's just how people are. One of my favourite things, the bikes, or I call them the mobile garbage bins. They're just everywhere. Look at this. Just do a little side detour. We'll catch up. Whoop! Fuck! This kid just about got hit by a taxi. They're all cranking to go. They weren't happy waiting. You got these they're just everywhere now. It's Clover Moore and her. She wants them. So you got this New South Wales transport truck. It's always there, but I think it's because it's got the sign. I think it must be just they're in charge of locking the roads down. I don't really know. All right, we're back on track. The other people are just these other bike riders and trucks are just trying to move along, but there's not getting any. They're not getting past them until they get to the corner. It's this little flag. It's I don't know what it says. All right, let's pause and get to the front. All right, so we're coming to the end of Bathurst where it hits Elizabeth opposite the Hyde Park and the statue thing whose name I always forget, the Pinnacle. I'm going to call it that, but it's not. I don't think that. Quite a lovely evening in Sydney. A little cool for the time of year, but not bad. So it's only going to be a half road closure here. This guy's going to make a quick dash while he's got a minute. I guess they're going to run from here down to, if I have to have a guess, I would like to have a guess, probably down the market, I'd say. And then when they get to market, they'll turn and they'll loop back. Might not even be that far. Yeah. Yeah, the Sydney City Council only just took down the I won't say bloody, but the Mardi Gras signs. Now they've got up Sydney Gadigal. WAC 2026. Australian Women's Asia Cup. Oh, that's the soccer thing about those Iranian women, I guess. Very similar Mardi Gras colours. They could have left the signs up, but they're all the way down the street. Danny Lim cruise along. Yeah, that's it's quite a small crowd. Now they're spread out a little. It's quite short. So I can time it. If I timed it from the red ladies until they walk past, I reckon 2 minutes. All right, let's get back up the front. We might go down the street, but I'm not sure where they're turning. And yeah, look at that. You can tell by the sound of my voice, I'm not really. They turn here, would you believe, at Park Street. So it's pretty much 2 blocks. It is. Well, it's not pretty much. It's actually three city blocks. So they'll come back down the street here back to Town Hall, which is there. So pretty much it's a three square block march. Or whatever last year, I can't remember how far back. But, yeah, so not a lot of traffic disruption this time of night as well, which there might have been. Holding a hand up in on the side. They're doing a hand on chest action too. They're joining in. What that last one was. Alright, let's go down the front. We'll catch them as they arrive. That'll be the shortest march I've ever been to. I'll get a couple. You got the bikes here, all in good stead. And everyone in the bus stop just like saying, you know, why my bus is running late. Buses are banked up down the street for miles. Yeah, it's not that bad, is it? See them all. Alright, the buses are on the way now. Plenty of bikes on this side too. So you got a combo of these Uber Eats guys, flat tyres, pretty flat tyre, and you got these bikes, which is a combination of Lime and Aereo and a few others. Mostly they're the ones, and they're pretty much everywhere now. Yeah, curse, the Clovermore curse. And the other one I love is these sticks. These people haven't even bothered to eat all their sticks from that thing. If you go down further down the street, they're becoming a real curse now. They're everywhere. See how they're such a widgy old man carrying on about these things. Bloody bikes, bloody sticks, bloody protests. It's all good. Just amuse myself as we move along. There's a guy in his army uniform. He's not army. I think he's just a cadet or something or other. So this will be the end of the line. they stopped up for a second, but I think it's just so they like a little bit of distance between the two. But again, this is it. We're coming down now to Town Hall. The ladies, they set a good pace, these ladies, not bad. Some of the protests are a hell of a lot slower, so these ladies aren't bad. They really do, they get move along. You'll see they're all pretty fit looking ladies. A few people are using the opportunity to cut through there. Most people stand and wait. There's an idea of the crowd size there. The bus coming through. I don't know whether they're just yelling at everyone. Just leave the freaking wait. Let the bus wait 5 minutes instead of yelling at people. It's crazy. Anyway, it's the cops. So we're coming back down now past the Assange people and the refugee people. They got Stop the War on women, Stop the War on Iran. Yeah. And then the red ladies are well ahead there. They're heading back in. So they've got a lot of. Must have a few quid to spend because they got a lot of. The PA system, as we saw earlier, was quite well set up. So yeah, it's funded somehow. I guess it's a union thing, so the unions are coughing up a bit of money for it. And then this is the Assange thing, which is now a. It's about McBride. The final people coming in. Union women, union strong. We are union women, union strong, or union women strong, however you read it. A few signs. Difficult woman. Thanks PM. Thanks sister. What was the difficult woman thing? I think it was about that Grace Tame maybe. Abortion access for all. Young Labour left. Skilled, respected, equal. The threat to women's rights is everywhere. Look at this little fella. He's enjoying it, or fella, or maybe not. I think it's a fella. So they've stopped here for a second, but I think they're going to head down now. So they'll get down the front to the speeches, and so you want to watch them come in? Yeah, why not? And then a little bit of, that's it. That's pretty much everyone. A little bit of silence now. We'll go and find a little spot to set up down here. Last little bit of tambourining at the end there. Wonder if these ladies hang around or they take off. I mean, I guess they've done their kind of part. Not sure if they're considered to be an extra part of it now or not. And it looks like the microphones are set up there now. Oh, they get to sit. Oh, they're saying get up there, up. You got to get up. You got to go up the top. Yep. Hurry up. No, we can't make it up those stairs. Yes, you can. Come on, get up there. I've got this chair here. There's people stand in front of me that I'm stuffed. Oh, the ladies said, no, we're not going up there. We can't do that. It's too much. They're going to stay here. All of them, half of them have sat down because it's exhausted from that big march. There's a guy who's done his setting up at the PA. He's just wandering off till he has to undo it all again. So it costs a few quid to rent all that gear and rent these dudes to set it up and hang around for a few hours on a Friday night. So yeah, all right. Let's see what happens. Just heard her saying the generator's not here yet to the guy, and he's going, oh yeah, blah blah blah. So this freaking, it's got to be well after 6:30 now. It's an hour in and they're still waiting on the generator. I think it's going to be on the PA. What do they call those things they hold in a hand? A megaphone. It'll be a megaphone now. She doesn't look too impressed. Well, you wouldn't be if you paid for it. Or you get all this shit, all this these extra microphones and the setup they've got up there, which I don't quite know what those two microphones are. And she's on the blower now. Where the hell's my bloody generator. What's going on with this shit? You know, we're paying you top dollar for this. You need to get another union job as long as you live, you blokes. So anyway, I think it's a bit, you know, whether it gets here, crank it up. I'm sure they can pull some strings with the town hall and get a lead run out. Probably not. That you're gonna, you know, do it for one, you do it for all, as they say. All right. Maybe a very, very late start to this and an extremely late finish. But there's nobody here, speaker-wise, that I would recognise, like the politicians and all that. They do come to various things, but not there. I don't think they're going to come to this tonight. I haven't seen any that I know anyway, but we shall see. All right, let's pause and we'll wait until something happens. So they're just calling everyone in now due to these issues with no PA system. So getting everyone to come in closer because they're just trying to do off this tiny megaphone, which isn't very loud, and while they're waiting on this woman next to her to do the welcome to country. These ladies have hung around. They're just sit there at the front. I guess I'm at the front of them, but they've been fiddling around with this sign for a long time now, trying to get that. Oh, here we go.
To start the proceedings, introduce Auntie Donna Ingram, who's going to honour us with her welcome to country. Then we'll have a lineup of speakers, all of which will be fascinating. So stick around and you'll find a lot to think about and to inspire you. And starting now with Auntie Donna and through the megaphone.
I'll first start doing this with the megaphone. Before I start, I just wanted to point out my t-shirt. It's from my granddaughter's netball club, and they're called the Minis. They're an Aboriginal club in the... Okay, like I said, this is my first time, so... Yeah, I just wanted to point out my t-shirt, which is the Minis Football Club in the Randwick Netball Association. And I was looking for something purple to wear, and this shirt was hanging there, and I just wanted to honour the team and my granddaughter because they're having a few challenges at the moment, and she's the one on the left side of my name here. But yeah, I just thought that was appropriate because they can't be here in person, so I just wanted to honour her and honour the Minis netball team. So good evening everyone. It's my great pleasure to be here with permission from my elders to offer you welcome to country for Union New South Wales Annual International Women's Day March. The UN Women Australia theme this year is Balance the Scales. It gives me pride to represent my community in this important cultural protocol. It shows respect for and recognition to the unique position of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Australian culture and history. We are gathered on the traditional land of the Gadigal, who are one of 29 clans of the Eora Nation, which is bordered by the Hawkesbury, the Georges and the Nepean rivers. I'm an Aboriginal woman who proudly identifies with the Wiradjuri Nation from Central West New South Wales. I was born on Gadigal land and I've had the privilege to live, work and raise my 4 children on this land for most of my life. My family has grown and I'm now a proud grandmother to Aaliyah, Elijah, Kalila, Lakota, Jake Jr., Aki and Baby Kay. 4 of my grandchildren are female and I hope that they enjoy the same opportunities as my grandsons. I count myself very fortunate that I was raised with many strong, smart Aboriginal women in my life. I have benefited from their leadership and guidance, and my grandchildren will also benefit from their wisdom and their strength. I acknowledge the Gadigal, their spirits and ancestors who will always remain with the land, Mother Earth, and I thank them for their ongoing custodianship. I pay my respects to our elders, both past and present, and we must never forget the sacrifices made by our leaders, especially women, to create a better future for Aboriginal people. I do this as a reminder and as a tribute to elders and those who have gone before us to fight for land rights, justice and equity for our communities. I extend my respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all clans and nations who are present this evening. I also recognise our non-Aboriginal sisters and brothers who walk beside us to celebrate the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women. I now offer you a warm and sincere welcome to the land of the Gadigal of the Eora Nation. Wish you a safe stay on the land and safe travel from the land. On behalf of my community and the Gadigal, I wish you all a fantastic evening at this march to show your passion and support for gender equality, focusing on the need for fair, inclusive and accessible justice for all women and girls. Let's balance the scales. In closing, we remember that this is, was and always will be Aboriginal land. Thanks everyone, have a beautiful evening.
Well, thank you, Auntie Donna, that was a wonderful welcome. And thank you to everybody who's here this evening. We've got a lineup of excellent speakers. Rebecca Fawcett from the CPSU, who's going to speak about the situation of women in Australian companies, public and private sectors, and the continuing failures in terms of equality and leadership, albeit that there have been some improvements. I'm going to give a short introductory speech before Rebecca, and then we'll go on to hear from Parisa Asvadi, Dr. Parisa Asvadi, who's going to talk to us about the situation of women in Iran. And then we're finally hearing from Angela Budai, the finance sector union, who's going to explain to us some of the dangers and threats of the AI revolution, particularly in relation to gender equality. I just want to start to talk a little briefly about the origins of International Women's Day, because it's a sort of tale that really child feminists should learn at the knees of their older feminists, either mothers, fathers, aunts or uncles, or even grandmothers. In 1910, at a meeting in Copenhagen of women delegates to the Socialist International from 17 countries, the great German feminist Clara Zetkin successfully moved that International Women's Day should be celebrated throughout the world on March the 8th. IWD, and I'm talking here in particular to the union women, commemorates the strike on the 8th of March 1908 of the New York City garment workers. We honour the courage of those tens of thousands of women workers who marched for their rights in the face of unrelenting police violence, just as women are doing in many countries in the world today. Women have never had their rights given to them. We have had to gain them through struggle and, at times, through revolt. In 1948, the UN endorsed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Women delegates from around the world helped create that declaration. Women delegates from India, from Pakistan, from the Dominican Republic and many other countries, including our own Jessie Street from Australia. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, adopted by the UN in 1979, is now the most significant international framework for advancing gender equality and human rights. So this treaty is legally binding, a Bill of Rights for women for its 189 signatories, including Australia. As the only country without a Human Rights Act, Australia's accountability and obligations under this convention are the main drivers of legislative and regulatory reform to advance gender equality in our country. That is, if you leave out, and we can never leave out, the strength and power and authority of the Australian women's movement. Just think of the cumulative impact of the Sex Discrimination Act, paid parental leave, domestic violence leave, equal pay provisions. I'm sorry about corrupted, equal pay provisions in industrial relations, steps to remove restrictions on women in combat roles, actions to prevent violence, and legislation to advance reproductive rights. And thankfully, Australia still does what it can to avoid embarrassment on the international stage when it comes to the rights of women and girls. Australia is held to account as a signatory to this convention. We must respond to questions on how we are implementing the convention. A lot of people think international conventions are just things up there in the sky without many implications for us. Well, actually, this treaty has had a huge impact on Australia, the Australian government's willingness to implement legislation which supports equality for women. Today, this global framework that sustains the International Women's Day is under a lot of strain, and everybody here would know that. Over-nationalist and virulently anti-feminist agendas seek to weaken multilateral cooperation, defund UN agencies, and fracture shared commitments to gender equality. On 6th of January this year, Donald Trump issued a memorandum to withdraw the United States from 68 UN-related organisations. These include UN Women, the United Nations agency dedicated to gender equality, and the United Nations Population Fund, the Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency of the UN. The United States was never a signatory to the Convention to eliminate discrimination against women, nor was Iran. On IWD this year, Katie Gallagher, the Minister for Women, released a report card on our progress against key indicators in the third year of Working for Women, a strategy for gender equality 2024 and look forward to it 2030. Australia has recorded its highest global rate inequality while still needing major steps to improve health, safety and workplace outcomes. I won't go through all those steps, but it's also troubling that the report card shows significant challenges. Women shoulder, surprise, surprise, most unpaid care, face high rates of violence and continue to earn less than men. More than 55% of families rely on paid care for children under 5 years old in an increasingly flawed early childhood education and care system. One in 3 families depend on grandparent care, a form of unpaid care which often goes beneath the laser. Technology facilitated abuse and the increasing normalisation of digital tracking and monitoring amongst young people are new and growing global issues affecting women's autonomy, safety and well-being. We need a unified and vigorously international response to rein in global cooperation which provide vehicles for this misogynist abuse. The challenges we face are daunting. In this ominous global climate, marking and celebrating International Women's Day with a renewed focus on the power of the international is surely more urgent than ever. Thank you. Now introduce Rebecca Fawcett, who's going to talk to us from her perspective and expertise in the finance sector, the Public Service Union, CSU, and on AI.
Thanks everyone, and it's really wonderful always to be reminded of the history of International Women's Day, so thank you for that. Sisters and comrades, International Women's Day reminds us of something important, and that is that change does not happen by accident. It happens because women stand up and organise and fight for it. And sometimes it feels like we are fighting the same battles that women have been fighting for centuries. It is wonderful to be here with you all on Gadigal land tonight, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander sisters and allies here tonight. To see change though, we need to be honest about where we are at. And comrades, inequality is rife. The gender pay gap is not a thing of yesterday. It is with us today, and it exists even in public service workplaces. In Aboriginal Hostels Limited, we see employees, and many of those employees are Aboriginal women, have been earning thousands of dollars less than their counterparts doing comparable work across the rest of the public service. And that's a pattern repeated shame. And that is a pattern repeated across other female-dominated occupations. Our women working in our nation's libraries, cultural institutions and museums being paid thousands of dollars less than their counterparts across the rest of the public service. But union members are standing up and fighting back. We have fought for a mechanism to get closer to pay equity. We have fought for collective bargaining, and comrades, we have fought for flexible work. We need groundbreaking working from home rights. That means that right now there are more women working full-time in the Australian public service because they are able to than ever before. For the simple reason that they can balance work and home life with this flexibility. And now we have something powerful on our side. We have transparency. For the first time ever, public service workplaces have to report on the gender pay gap, and they have to make that data publicly available. And the first report card is in. We had the Workplace Gender Equality Agency report card in just this last couple of weeks, and what we can see is that union members are making a difference in the public service. Because union members have stood together, the pay of the lowest paid workers is going up. And it will be no surprise to anyone here that the lowest paid are overwhelmingly women, and often Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. Shame. But union members are standing up, and workers in Aboriginal hostels have seen their pay go up by as much as 25% due to the efforts of union members in the last round of collective bargaining. 25% increase. And tonight we can say something powerful. We can say that the gender pay gap in that workplace no longer exists. It has been eliminated. That didn't happen by chance. It happened because women stood up. Union members have been fighting and organising and fighting for change. And when union members achieve change in public service workplaces, those changes ripple across all Australian workplaces. Our fight is your fight. We stand together. And we are not done. We will keep organising. We will keep fighting for equal pay. And we will keep fighting until women's work is recognised in the way it always should have been. Happy International Women's Day.
Going to speak to us about the situation in Iran, and particularly women's struggle in Iran. I think Parisa might want to speak from down there. Yes.
You could hear me better if I were to speak to you from down there. What do you think? Yeah!
Hey, I thought that, you might actually be able to hear me better if I was to speak to you from down there. What do you think?
Yes!
All right. I'm going to start speaking to you by acknowledging the owners and custodians of the land that we have today gathered on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Always was, always will be. Sisters, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, we commemorate the International Women's Day 2026 at a great time. The
suffering and death of people, women and children all around the world is the most prominent feature of our time. Today, US and Israeli bombs and missiles are falling on my homeland, Iran, in an unprovoked and illegal war. The same bombs that have been falling on Gaza for 2.5 years. The same bombs that fall and are falling on Lebanon. For decades, Iranian women have resisted the systematic subjugation by the Islamic Republic of their bodies, livelihoods, and lives. The everyday resistance of Iranian women symbolized in the Zan Zendegi Azadi, Jen Jian Azadi, women's life, freedom, uprising has been punished by prison sentences, torture, and deprivation of basic human rights. Multiple women are in prison today. Some are on death row. In January 2006, in its latest violent crackdown on the people's protest, the Islamic Republic has murdered hundreds of women and thousands others on the streets of Iran. Shortly after, though, the movement of people surged again in universities, factories, and schools. But, on 28th January 2006, a devastating new punishment was enacted on Iranian people, women, and children for the second time in less than a year. The war machine of the West, US and Israeli bombs, again targeted Iran, its people, its infrastructure, its capabilities, its grassroots movements, including the women's movement, and initiated its annihilation. The killing of the supreme leader elevated him to the position of the sacred. The tirelessly existed agency of the Iranian women and people in deciding their own fate and the fate of the regime that had devastated their lives was criminally disregarded. The American and Israeli bombs took the lives of 186 primary school girls on the first day of their war on Iran. To date, more than 13,000 civilian sites, hospitals, schools, water desalination facilities, oil depots, residential buildings, and more have been destroyed. More than 280 women have been murdered. The Gaza playbook, the modern colonial playbook, is now enacted in Gaza, in Lebanon, and Iran simultaneously. Sisters, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, our region is thoroughly familiar with the operations of the war machine of the West, with the devastation it wreaks on ancient lands and cultures, with extraction of the wealth, with the displacement of the people, and with the nauseating promise of liberation of women and democracy. Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, Syria are alive in our collective memories. Our region bears the wounds and scars of American and Israeli wars. It is also, and I remind you, it is also the reservoir of steadfast resistance against these wars and its colonial and genocidal agenda. We will not submit to the dystopian future that the colonial masters of today's world have in mind for us. We will exert our own agency. We have experienced war, the most naked and brutal form of violence against women directly. War, the modus operandi of the imperial West, shreds bodies to pieces, annihilates livelihoods, but the effects don't stop there. We have experienced how war devastates women's lives long after the sound of explosions are not heard, long after the headlines have disappeared, long after you, of the residents of the core of the empire, have been asked to return to your normal lives. We know how the West creates the ground for the emergence of the most tyrannical and brutal regimes in our region. Sisters, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, on commemorating International Women's Day 2026, I want to remind us all that the Australian government, the supporter of the Israeli genocide in Palestine, is now the supporter of the US-Israeli illegal war in Iran. We're all familiar with the historical role of women in anti-war movements globally. Currently, our duty as anti-war women and men does not and cannot stop at extending solidarity to the Iranian women as the latest targets of the war machine of the West. I know you will not insult us by
You have power.
considering
Here you go,
us.
Parisa. I'm giving you the mic. Finally.
I know you will not insult us by considering us a humanitarian cause. On this note, I wanted to extend my understanding of the decision of the Iranian women football players, themselves symbols of the Iranian women achievements against oppressive power, who opted not to return in Iran. The Australian government, however, cannot whitewash its support of the war on Iran by granting visas to the victims of the war it supports. In conclusion, the US-Israeli war plan entails roles for Australia, for our tax money. We have the power to demand the annulment of AUKUS. We have the power to demand termination of activities conducted at Pine Gap in support of US wars. We have the power to dismantle the arms supply chain supporting the Israeli genocide. Our commitment to women's rights, to stopping violence against women, behooves us to exercise this power. We need to identify, expose, block and oppose every effort against the people where the war machine of the West targets. If you do a bit of search, you will realize that these are the same powers that kill the Aboriginal people of this land in custody. They are the same people that expose you to the most vile formation of racist formation. They are the same people that deprive you of the right to free expression, to grieve for the people, your like, my like, that are being massacred by the war machine. It behooves us to raise our voices against all of this. They are united in their efforts against our people. We need to unite as well. In solidarity and in commemoration of the International Women's Day 2026. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please. That was an extraordinary call to all of us to actually reconnect with the other great tradition of International Women's Day marches in Australia. Up until right from the beginning, the first International Women's Day march in, I think, 1923, a persistent theme was the theme of a call for peace. And that was even critically important in the IWD marches and demonstrations and rallies right through the 50s and the 60s. And Dr. Asvadi has reconnected us with that proud feminist tradition. So thank you very much for that extraordinary perspective on the terrible things that are surrounding it at this point in time. So we have one more speaker. And I don't think we should coal back, because we have now Angela Budai, who is going to finish up with telling us about how we can understand and combat the terrible misogynist machine of AI. I'll hand over to Angela.
Erin, thank you. Sisters, comrades, brothers, thank you for joining us on International Women's Day. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about AI, but first of all, a pop culture reference. How many of you remember the Jetsons? All right. For the benefit of those of you who are young enough or didn't spend enough time in your youth in front of the television, the Jetsons were a family who came to us first in the 1960s and had a reboot in the 1980s, and they were from the future. We had George Jetson, we had his wife Jane. They had 2 kids, Judy and Elroy, and they had a robot called Rosie. And the robot did all the housework that couldn't be done at the push of a button. George, because it was the 1960s and the men went out to work, he worked 1 hour a day for 2 days of the week. That was the future that we envisioned. Shared benefits for everybody. It's 2026. What do you think George Jetson would make of the reality in 2026? We know that Australian workers on average do 2.5 weeks of additional unpaid overtime every single year. 2.5 weeks. Not 1 hour a day for 2 days of the week, but an additional 2.5 weeks of unpaid overtime. Now, employers are taking the benefits of AI at the moment. And I give you an example from the finance industry because, of course, that's where I come to you from today. So just last month, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, one of the biggest banks, the most profitable banks, used to be our bank, not anymore, it's now the shareholders' bank, announced a half-year profit of $500 million in half a year. The same week, they announced they were going to shed 300 workers. Imagine George Jetson 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day, 2 hours a week. Imagine what that would have looked like. It wouldn't have been $500 million in half a year into shareholders' pockets. And just this week, Atlassian announced 480 Australian jobs, 1,600 jobs. And they say it's all about AI. Now, unfortunately, sisters, AI was not designed by women. It was not designed by migrants. It was not designed by our Indigenous brothers and sisters. It's designed by predominantly white men, which means it makes assumptions. And those assumptions feed into the systems that we use. So there was an example last year, a study in Germany, where a chatbot was asked by 2 identical people, one with a male name and one with a female name, what they should be asking for in terms of salary expectations. Would it surprise anyone to know that the male salary expectations were significantly higher than the female? Add to that someone who perhaps is disabled or a migrant, LGBTIQ+ or First Nations, and you can see what AI is doing. It is not being shared equally. So what do we need? Because I don't want to leave you here with doom and gloom. I want to leave you with some hope. So we talk about a digital just transition. Now, the idea of a just transition is not new. Our brothers and some sisters in the mining industry are very familiar with this term, where we've built a just transition as we move away from fossil fuels to net zero. This is what we need as we go through a digital transformation. And it has 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars start with us. Consultation, talk to your workforce. Another Commonwealth Bank example, because whilst I hate them the most, They are not the only ones. But last year, they introduced a chatbot. And they'd announced, because they had this AI chatbot, they were going to sack 45 call centre workers because, of course, the chatbot would mean there'd be less call volume. We asked our members what was actually happening, and guess what? The call volumes went up because the chatbot wasn't as clever as the call centre workers. We took this to the Fair Work Commission, we escalated it, and we asked the bank to give us some genuine answers. Turns out the workers were right. They had to reinstate those workers that wanted the jobs, but those who they'd promised a bucket load of money to, they gave the money. So 45 jobs stayed because we pushed our consultation rights, because workers know what it takes to do the job, and workers want to benefit from that. They want to share in those benefits. 1 hour a day, 2 hours a week. That's what we want. The second pillar of a digital just transition is about training and reskilling. Now, employers talk about sunset jobs, the jobs they think won't exist, and sunrise jobs. And they've been planning for this for a decade at least. They know what these jobs are, but you don't know. You get told 6 weeks before your job's going. 6 weeks isn't enough time to reskill. We know the employers know what they need. We know they know what the sunrise jobs are. So what we want is for them to tell us and to provide us with the training and the skilling that we need so we can move into those jobs if we want to. It can't be a taxpayer-funded thing. They can't rely on the government for handouts. $500 million in half a year. They need to be paying for it. The third pillar is about data security and surveillance. I don't know how many of you work from home occasionally or work with a laptop. Anyone's laptop got a little camera on it? Yeah? Did you know that your employer can turn those cameras on without you knowing, and they can spy on you? And most of you have signed employment contracts that allow this to happen. It's not good enough. We need explicit consent about when you're going to be surveilled. It should only be for your own safety. You need to know what data is being collected, how it's being used. We had a woman, Catherine, who unknowingly was training a chatbot. She didn't know. You need to know. You need to be asked. And then finally, we need good redundancy provisions. Not the minimum that's in the National Employment Standards, which might be 16 weeks if you've got 9 years service, but drops to 12 weeks if you've got 10. We need those to be improved. That's what a digital just transition looks like. How do you do it? We need to talk to our MPs, because at the moment the tech bros have captured the hearts of those MPs. And whilst the tech bros can pay for access, in our democracy they get 1 vote each, and there's a whole lot more of us than there are of them. We need to go, we need to talk to our MPs, we need to demand a digital just transition. 1 hour a day, 2 days a week. The other thing you can do is join your union. We've had a little bit of success. Join your union, demand that they ask for better consultation provisions, better redundancy provisions. Remember, we beat the Commonwealth Bank at the Fair Work Commission, and we're not a big union. We certainly don't have access to the $500 million every single half year. That's what we need to do, join your union. Unfortunately, when you leave today, you can't go home and watch the Jetsons. I did look to see if it was available. It's not. And really, it is International Women's Day, and the gender stereotypes in the Jetsons probably aren't ideal for us. What you can do is you can reimagine how you see your future. 1 hour a day, 2 days a week. Happy International Women's Day.
Very, very illuminating and extraordinarily important that we pursue this through our unions and through our political organisations. The government is a bit indolent in relation to the AI industry, and we need to focus much more seriously on it. We now draw to an end this celebration of International Women's Day. Before we finish, I would like to acknowledge the committee, the Unions New South Wales constituted committee that supported Vanessa Seagrove, who's the Assistant Secretary of Unions New South Wales and also the Women's Organiser. And I'd also like to thank all of the wonderful speakers, and particularly the Trade Union Choir and Marjorie Elsmore, who has brought the choir again as they do every year, but also for many other progressive events around the city. And thank you to everybody who's stood the test and stayed the time. You are in the CBD, there's plenty more hours left in the evening, but maybe you just want to go home and put your feet up. But thank you very much, and happy at the end of International Women's Week, I think we could say, and good on you, and see you next year.
All right, well, that's it. Yeah, the crowd has dropped off a little in the interim. This is I found this, I just picked this off on the ground. It's, what is it, the rally chants. You can see them there. Pause if you want to, if you're not keen. A few of the ladies hung in. A few of them took off earlier. And the people, obviously the numbers in the group obviously faded away as it went on a little. Yeah, they had a little issue with a fair bit of an issue with the sound system. So I reckon they will, Unions New South Wales has put in the bill, they say. So they will probably, not pay the bill, I would think. They got about they got about 10 minutes worth at the end, which wasn't, it's not really adequate. You wouldn't think, for if you're paying for it, you wouldn't want to, just get that little bit at the end. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of it. I'm heading off. The cops are just having a chinwag with that guy or whatever. He's a media kind of guy. I don't know. He's not a media. I don't know what the hell he is, but having a chinwag in him. And I'm not that keen on that copper. He's not that I'm not keen on him, but he's just like, he's what he is. I'm not keen on him, to be honest. There's the mobile. The signs change depending on the event. That's it. All done. Last call. This guy, Christian guy, still here, yabbering on. The people are heading off with their signs, going home, and I'm going home too. It's time for a beer. It's getting on. Hasta la vista, baby.